Welcome to our summary for week 4. I just want to talk a little bit about our week 4 content, and then we'll go over some quiz questions. So I'm just going to hop over here real quick. In our week 4 content, we talked a bit about information technology and how it applies in healthcare, big data, data analytics, precision medicine, um, uh, or artificial intelligence. And then for our project for this week, we had made an infographic. Now, I will warn you, I haven't looked at your infographics yet, but in my on-ground class, I had problems opening some of the infographics that were in JPEG format. I'm not really sure why. Some of them I can open, some of them I can't. I think it has to do with the way you created the name, the naming convention, but I'm not exactly sure why. So you may hear from me if I can't open your JPEG. I might need you to send me the link to the actual file as you saved it online, but or maybe if you're able to open it on your end, if you can screenshot it or resave it with a different file name, however we need to do it, I'm not too worried about it, but you might hear from me. Anyway, just a couple comments on last week's discussion and the topic. So the discussion, artificial intelligence and precision medicine, what I was hoping to get at was really your thoughts overall, not necessarily a discussion of what is artificial intelligence or what is precision medicine, but what are your thoughts about this? Is it something that you're really excited about? Is it, do you find it interesting and exciting, or do you have concerns about it? I think that, and you can have both. You can be really excited about it and think it's interesting and you want to, something that you want to learn more about, but then on the flip side also think, wow, this is kind of concerning, and have it be something that have some drawbacks to it as well. I think that, like, for example, precision medicine, I think it's fascinating. I think the ability to look at a patient's genome and then be able to make suggestions for them for wellness, how you would pursue wellness activities and those types of things. I think it's fascinating. However, the whole All of Us research initiative, it's fascinating, but I don't know that I will rush out to throw my genome into that pile just because I'm fearful of our ability as an industry and as a nation to protect that information in an effective manner. As the discussion ensued in our on ground class, I think to myself about the Terminator movie. When I read when I hear the Watson Cloud video, or when I hear about the All of Us research project, I think to myself about the Terminator movie, or even my family and I are big fans of the Orlando theme parks, and I think back to the Terminator ride that they used to have. I don't think it exists anymore, but we used to walk into it and watch this video about how nice the robots that they had in there were, that they were here to help us, and as it turned out, they were actually just there to kill us. So, but they thought on their own. They had artificial intelligence, and not that any of this medicine would do that, but in the back of your mind, you think, is there a point where these activities are going to go beyond what we're expecting? That this stuff will no longer be used for good and would be used for evil in some way, to be used for defense purposes or for negative instead of for the positive that we're looking at it for. So just those thoughts. Not that they're going to, that the artificial intelligence activities are going to turn on us as they do in the Terminator movies, but I can see that this same technology being used for negative purposes instead of for the positive purposes that we think of it being used for. So that's those are the thoughts on that that topic. I think that there's some really exciting things and really neat things, but I think there are some scary things too. And probably the main scariest thing that I think of that's actual reality is privacy. The health privacy issues related to these massive clouds of data is real, and something that we need to do something about before we should just leave all that out there. Okay, so quiz questions. The first one, and the majority of you, actually all of you, noticed it because I'm pretty sure everybody got this question wrong, and it's mainly because the incorrect answer was marked as the correct one. So I will give everyone credit for this, just out of fairness. Not everyone got the answer right. The majority of people did, but I will give everyone credit. The question was, software applications in healthcare have traditionally been used to manage. Now, there were actually two answers that could have been correct here. The answer I was going for was business operations, but pharmacy expenses could have been correct as well, because applications have really been used to manage expenses and business operations. They haven't been used in the past to manage physicians, clinical staff, nurses, and those are the other answers. But pharmacy expenses was the answer that was marked, so that could have been correct. Or business operations is the one that was chosen most frequently, and that's probably what would have been the correct answer. But I will give everyone credit for that one. So I haven't done it yet, but I will do that. The next question. Computer systems were not used initially by clinicians because early systems, and there's several answers, but the answer that's correct is actually a combination of two of the answers. It took more time to use and were cumbersome to use. Now, there is another answer that were expensive. Now, granted, computer systems were expensive, but all hospitals and health practices, medical practices, had them. So it is true that they were expensive, but that's not what was stopping physicians from using them, because they already were there. So it was more about time and the fact that they were cumbersome to use that was problematic. So our answer was that they took more time to use and were cumbersome to use. And we had talked about, or it was talked about in your text, with regard to electronic health records and that implementation. I have printed that twice. So the next question, software unnecessary in the healthcare setting due to its business goals includes. And there's several answers. Customer relationship management, or CRM, that's a marketing related software. Accounts receivable, payroll, laboratory systems. So which types of software is unnecessary in healthcare? None of those. We actually need all of those types of software because we deal with customers, we have accounts receivable, we have payroll, we have laboratory. So the answer was none of these are correct. We do need all of those types of software systems in our healthcare setting. The last question, the delivery of healthcare lends itself to automation because and let's see, there's several answers. Includes workers comfortable with technology, is expensive, is heavily regulated, includes repetitive workflows, all of the above, none of the above. So our answer is it includes many repetitive workflows. So in the healthcare setting, obviously in delivery of healthcare, there are many repetitive workflows. When we think about, let's just think about a hospital floor. So a hospital floor, patient is admitted, there's a certain amount of certain things that happen in that admitting process. Then patient has vital signs taken. They have, that happens every half hour or every hour. Then, the physician comes in and does rounds, does a certain type of note, every day, 3 times a day, however often that they're rounding on the patients. Nurse's aide comes in and does certain things at a certain time every day. So all of these things, it's very repetitive. So it lends itself to automation in the note-taking process. And then even throughout the organization, there are a lot of things that are very repetitive. So it does lend itself to automation through technology. Even like pharmaceuticals, you can lend it. It used to be that the pharmacy would delve out little cups of medication, bring them up. Now they actually have systems right on the floor where medication is delved out through through the Pyxis system or whatever system it is that you have, and it's automated. So everything is moving to the technology realm because everything in the hospital setting or in many healthcare settings is very repetitive. These very repetitive workflows. We do the same thing for every patient all the time. Because that's how we maintain quality. We know that this is the best practice to do for these patients, very repetitive. So our answer was includes many repetitive workflows. Okay, so for week 5, we have another group project. I'm going to scroll down here on my screen. So the groups are different groups from last time. They've already been assigned. They were listed out in the announcement. They're also listed here in the week 5 classroom. So please make sure that you get together with your group. You're going to be working on a case study that's found in the back of your textbook. Get together with your group. I guess I actually didn't. There is one group that I want to get together with and discuss a student issue. We have a student that's not feeling well and may not be working on the case study. So I will get in touch with that group. But outside of that group, everyone should be moving along pretty well here. Keep in mind, you will get another self-peer assessment at the end of this group case study. So and grades can be affected by your lack of group participation. So make sure that everyone gets together, does their work, and then next week I'll do that today. I'll go back into the doodle poll, see what everyone's choices were. Next week, we're going to present the results and compare and discuss what everyone thought about the case study and what your results are. So be prepared to present your results of the case study. Next week, we're going to talk about this and see what everyone's different thoughts were on this case study. So we'll be doing that next week on a couple of different days. Hopefully we can get either a whole group on one day or at least representatives on 2 different days so that whomever is presenting from the group that day, we can present a group on 2 different days. That's not a problem. We just need to line it up so that we have representation for multiple groups on the days so we can get different presentations on 2 different days. So that's it for today, and I will hope to see everybody in the discussion boards, and we will, or I think it is a Flipgrid again this week. So I'll see everyone in the Flipgrid and talk to you all soon.